Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Michael Martin here. So, I always forget to say this stuff just because I'm like the worst marketer in the financial services space. But as you know, we have this YouTube channel. When you join and you subscribe, we get really good data. Ganja calls it the algorithm. I don't even know what the hell that means. Google probably has one. At least Ganja thinks so. But it tells us what episodes and what things really resonate with you. If you like and subscribe, apparently there's a little bell indicator too that you can click, and that will alert you when we have new material. It's okay if you don't do it, because I'll tell you right now, we have stuff every day, Monday through Friday, and Wednesday typically meet with Ganja. But if you're a person who likes to set reminders, I'm famous for setting reminders because I don't like letting things fall through the cracks. You might consider that. I also wrote a book a while back. For those of you that are new here, I don't talk about it a lot. I've referred to it from time to time just because that saves a lot of time, because then you can go back and refer to, like, for example, the chapter on surrender, chapter 2 of the book. If you want to learn more about what I thought about surrender as it relates to trading, I don't have to waste your time here. You can go listen to it, or if you have the physical copy. I give away the audiobook version, which you can get at the main site at martinchronicle.com, top right corner. You can get the audiobook version of The Inner Voice Trading, which came out in 2011. You can get that for free on me. So yesterday we talked about living in a drawdown, and the next kind of thematic question that kind of relates to that is, can you talk about what happens to, you abandon your rules, right? And or you put on rules under the guise of FOMO, fear of missing out. And how do you behave around that? Well, again, early on, I was doing a lot of experimentation. I was being rather promiscuous because I was trying to figure out like who I was. I came from the hedging side where you kind of know what you need in terms of inventory. So position sizing is pretty clear. You run an Italian deli, you need to know how many loaves of bread you're going to need, right? On average. So when you're a speculator, though, you don't really need any of the inventory. So you kind of hedge to your needs if you're a user, and you buy futures to hedge price spikes that could otherwise hurt you. Producers of commodities sell forward because they're long the physical. Users are short the physical inherently, so they buy hedge going forward. That was where I was coming from. And I turned that model into one to speculate with. I had to figure out the position sizing algorithm aspect of it, the money management part, as you would say. And so, when I think about folks who are trying to figure it out at home without any kind of coaching, you have, the fear of missing out, which you could think to mean I'm putting on trades that are outside my set of rules because emotionally I just can't bear the pain today of something that can happen in the non-existent future. So I'm going to take an action today to kind of hedge against having a feeling that I don't want to have tomorrow or next week because NVIDIA goes to 600 and I'm not in it. Right now it's like 450 to give you an idea. Then you have rule abandonment. That is, I'm likely in a drawdown, or I have the fear of success. I'm up 20% and I can't take winning anymore. It's too painful for me. So I'm just going to stop following my rules. And I'm going to change. I'm going to go from purely systematic to discretionary, which I've seen, I won't get into the names, but I've seen people do that and lose big allocations. So you have those two things, abandonment and FOMO. Again, FOMO could be, I'm going to take a non-systematic trade and put that on because I don't want to miss out on something in the future. I might emotionally need the win now after a string of losses. And we talked about what's a streak, what's a string, what's just a bunch of trades that didn't make money. You can label them how you want. But remember, the words have meaning. I tend to take things in stride because I don't want to overemphasize things, especially the negative, because I think a couple of things. Everyone's a pleasure seeker. 2, we're products of our environment. And 3, an absolute truth is you get what you think about. So if you think about losses all day, I believe that's a good way to manifest more of them. So that's why I don't go berserk over losses, because it's just part of the model. It's just the way that it works. Now, you could also look at what happens when you have what I would recommend if you're trading like, again, this is one of the reasons why the majority of people who try to trade the NQ and the E-mini ES is because they're trying to overlay 6 to 12 different strategies on one instrument, which kind of keeps them in psycho mode. Like Sybil, you have 14 personalities, rather than thinking of having one setup that works that you could trade across any number of instruments. Because to me, the probability, if you looked across, say, 600 different instruments, the likelihood of you finding that one setup that really resonates with you is high. Whereas if you feel compelled to have to trade, right, you automatically put yourself in that FOMO mode by looking at one instrument. You can debate that with me, but I know my shit, because all I do is study myself, and I say, well, what would I do in this behavior? Why would I do that behavior? What would that mean? What would that signify? Where are my blind spots? Committee's always in session. Quiet down, I told you once. It also could mean no confidence. You don't have confidence in your rules. You don't have confidence in yourself. And that's the worst. Because as I've said, and I've done this before, I've taken people who have average ability, maybe even borderline being as dumb as the damn doorknob on my door, but they could stick to the rules. And behavior predicts where you end up. And they had clear vision of what they wanted. They couldn't tell you who the Fed chairman was, but it didn't matter, because that information doesn't necessarily help you make money, right? We get paid to execute. So if you take people and you infuse them with confidence and help them feel good about their strengths, because everybody has a strength. The thing is, can you minimize the things that you're not good at, even if those are things that you want to excel at? Sometimes, like Ganja says, you have to be the in-game leader, right, and not the duelist. You know, who's like the quarterback, you know, on the football team. He gets all the good-looking cheerleaders interested because he's a star player. Sometimes you have to play a role that doesn't have that type of sex appeal, but has an enormous amount of effectiveness. You're looking at one. I was big for my age growing up, and the way football works is when you're of a certain height and weight, you have to play the line because of your size and because of the safety protocols. You were considered unlimited when you hit a certain weight. And because I was quick and athletic, I started playing offensive line. I played center for 8 years. I was a center. Center's never in the newspaper. Never. But if you fumble a snap, if your shotgun goes awry, and I did all of it. I did offense, I did shotgun, I did point after touchdown, and I did the deep snap for punting. They didn't let me play both ways. Why? Because you needed 3 people to replace me. A lot of responsibility. No glory. We had a ball control offense. We were on the field for 40 minutes. The defense had white clean pants at the end because they're never on the field. At the end of the day, so you have to know what role you want to play. Do you want to be famous, or do you just want to chug along and kind of get your business done? So, you know, you have to figure out what are the feelings that come up for you when you're trading and you don't have patience or you don't have confidence. Investigate those feelings. What is it about not having patience that doesn't work for you? Why can't you sit on your hands? What do you think is happening in the world that you have to get in on? I guarantee you, if you investigate that more than half the time, if you look at those things and the actions that you take when you have to feel the feelings around being patient, you're doing yourself a disservice. So it would make sense for you to kind of become comfortable with those feelings and look at them. Why do you do what you do? Because at the heart of it, it might be coming from your subconscious, and it might be not the sole reason, but could become or could be and exist to be a big chunk of why you do what you do when you have a sense of FOMO, or when you've become discouraged because what happened in the real life ex ante didn't conjugate with what you thought beforehand ex ante, and you've abandoned all your trading rules, your systematic rules, your discretionary chart reading, or your particular setup. You see? So That's why we focus on the emotional and the psychological here, because that's usually behind all of our actions. And, that's why I advocate, learning a lot about yourself, because once you learn about yourself and your sense of self awareness, who you are as a person, what makes you tick, you'll have a better sense of knowing a couple things, for example. Remember, I said there's two payoffs to every trade. There's the psychological, the emotional, and there's the financial. A lot of times at the beginning, you're looking and grading yourself by the financial payoff so that you can get the validation. Nothing wrong with it. Part of life, right? We do that in all walks of life too, not just in trading. So I'm not talking shit. The point being, though, is that if you look at a couple of basic things, let me give you an example. A pullback to like a 20-period exponential moving average, that has a certain emotional payoff to a trader that runs that type of model. Forget the financial part. Person who buys a 37.5-day breakout system, that has a certain emotional payoff. Person who does a 3 3/4 day and 11 and 15/16 day moving average crossover system, right? That too has a certain emotional payoff. The goal is to figure out what those emotional payoffs are, which to me, I could teach them to you. They're kind of easy. But how do you find the pertinent person that you're going to marry, right? Probably have a lot of attributes. Main thing, though, is their chemistry, compatibility. So you need to conjugate who you are as a person. Why you want to study candlesticks or divergences in 1-minute bars is beyond me, because that doesn't help you understand if there's compatibility. So most folks make the mistake of trying to study things from an intellectual standpoint, because there is a self-esteem building kind of a deal aspect to that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to help you trade. It can feel good to learn things. I love to learn stuff. I'm always taking chances and learning new stuff, experimenting with my painting and doing collages and, all that stuff. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, I think I've handled this thing very, very handsomely so far. If you have any questions or concerns, please write and let me know, and I'll embellish. Or you can email me privately through the website and tell me what you're working on, and I'll help you that way. Otherwise, I'll be here tomorrow with Ganja. We have a really good episode. How do I know? We recorded it already. And I will see you again by myself on Thursday. Take care. Okay, everybody, thanks for being here. Please take a minute, like and subscribe to the show. You could also leave a comment. I don't have all the answers, so it's good to get some feedback. Also, if you would like to support the show, check out the links below. You can get the free audiobook of The Inner Voice of Trading, and also information about the course that I teach with Victor Sperandio. Thanks for being here, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.